Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the channel. We have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Ernesto from Kaly Boards. Tell them about yourself, man. Some people may be unfamiliar with you, so just tell them a little bit about yourself and what is the brand all about.
Well, I'm Ernesto. I started doing DIY like some time ago, maybe like what 5, 6 years ago, or even further. And we've been in DIY scene since the endless fear days, like way before forums and all that.
Before you
And
know.
yeah, so I came from kiteboarding, but once you get old, it doesn't work that well with your knees. I love the guys that haven't messed up their knees, or they good and they pushing it. But if you have to go sideways, you have to go. So nothing. I discovered e-skating, and it's been a blast from there, from day one. So it's been an obsession, basically. I won't say a blast. It's
Love
like
it.
an obsession.
It's in this.
Yeah.
You have to love what you do, and that's almost in every area of life. And we were kind of talking about this off the channel. I said your energy level, like you always seem so positive and optimistic, and it's so refreshing. Like just to be around somebody like that, that's really cool. So we're gonna talk about the new board that just came out that just really has people just astonished at what you guys created. And I don't even want to call it a skateboard. To me, it's almost like a machine, like a Terminator or something over there. So let's just talk a little bit about it. What is this new board? Why are people so excited?
Well, basically, like to me, since I started in DIY, it was okay. Like from the first announce of the boosted, like I'm like, bro, those numbers don't match. Like no, it's sometimes people want to believe, okay, this can work, but no, it don't match. Like I'm 200 something pounds. At that time I was like maybe 190, but now I'm like 235. So I'm like, no, it doesn't match. But then to me, it's okay. What do you want to do about it? And to me, the best way to get what you want is to get down, roll up your sleeve, and actually go build it. So there's always things in your back in your head, like I don't know, like sometimes you're thinking about a problem, and when you're thinking about a problem, you still are. Your subconscious keep nagging at it. So I always had this thing. The market has been moving towards big boards.
Mhm.
As you could see from my 2.0s and the XL40s, they are a bit bigger, but not oversized. So I was okay. I don't need to do an oversized board because just that's where the market is. So to me, it's okay. What can we bring new? Because like I don't like the refresh. Refresh is basically what I do every day with my boards. I'm always improving, always trying to get things to be backwards compatible, always trying to refine that product, because to me that's what you do. That's a grind. But then for the new board, I'm like, okay, do I want to do a new board?
Mm.
And then I didn't know for the last 2 years. But then an idea came to my head. I'm like, okay, I've been hustling with this stabilization forever, but still there was not a way how to implement it. I'm like, okay, so finally there's something to come up into this. I put a lot of hours of thinking about stuff, but it's not like sitting down and just like thinking. You just like, you let your mind fly and go, you know, go up into that zone that, okay, what can be done? And then I crack a little by little. I won't say that I just hit it and it got open. It's more like chipping it away little by little.
It kind
So
of reminds it sounds like that saying, like, how do you eat an elephant? And how you eat an elephant is one piece at a time.
yeah, one piece at a time. You just start. You need to just to start. So then I decided last year to take a deep look about what's available there,
Mhm.
which are, going back to the basic of know what I want to do, more of what I like. So I started testing all type of boards. I even had a client. He sent me a Hero deck because he has one of my boards, the 2.0s, and he changed it to a Hero deck because he has an issue with his knee, so he needed a bigger platform. I ended up with the thing for 2 weeks. I'm like, bro, I haven't finished. I just loved it. I was like, yeah, I'm
You just
sorry, it's
mind
not
it.
done yet. Just riding back and forward. So you ride a deck like that, that is so smooth and so nice on your legs, but it's hard to pinpoint where it comes from. Because when you look at it, it's hard to pinpoint it. There's a lot of guys that think that you could tell, no. Sometimes the less obvious thing, that is what actually causing the effect that you really like. So, after I was able to figure out what was the issue, okay, then the guy got his board back. Then I took like endless more decks. From each one, you get something that you like, and I'm one of those guys that I'm okay. I like the edge at the tip of the concave, or I like the edge at the tip of the camber. So that is the angle I want. Then there is a double concave. I'm like, okay, I tried double concave here, double concave there. And then I try one or two that were just perfect. I'm like, okay, if I can get close to that, I know I'll be in good company. And then if you mix that with the smoothness of the other one, then you're like, okay, now we're on to something. Then I go back to my own deck. I'm like, okay, what is what I really, really, really love about this deck? And then you just think about that. And the more you think and the more you think, I'm like, okay, kind of find out what is it. And now you take that little bit and just sprinkle it in there. And bit by bit, the freaking thing was taking a mind of its own. And you could see I still have the freaking black marks on my eyes because I was just putting so much time. So then it became something of its own. It's like you have that idea that is just drilling into your head. And I don't know, honestly, to me, like the overall shape, the overall look of the board, I think that ideas are born through you. Like honestly, when you're creating something, you're just following like a hint. It is true that you need to have a background in what you're doing, and you need to have all this knowledge in order to do the things. But to me, it's like you being like the speaker where that music is gonna come out, but it doesn't mean that you are the one doing it. So little by little, the thing was taking shape, and I was like, okay, still not ready. And even by November, I was like, nah, it's still not ready. So finally, in January, it was like, okay, we almost there. Basically now, that's what you see. So we got a well-balanced board. We got a well-balanced deck with features that we love from all the boards, features that we love from our board. And like a lot of people like to do a lot of prototypes. Honestly, I don't like to do a lot of prototypes because I like to stay in a lane that I'm comfortable. So when you see the XL40, the 50, and the 2.0, like people are just catching up to gear drives. So you see all the companies now, they're catching up to gear drives, they're catching up to certain things that we've been doing for the last 3 years.
Question, like, and since you are the guy to ask about this, why is gear drive so significant and important? Like a lot of people are very familiar with belt drive boards. They're familiar with direct drive. They're familiar with hub motor boards. But what makes a gear drive board so powerful, so unique? What about it for people who just may not know what a gear drive is?
All right, so there's a difference between belts, and drive and gears. So the gears are more robust. Each one has its own limitations. Like, let's start why most of the companies that started to produce products for boards decided to go with belts. So the belts allow for a lot of tolerances to go out of whack because the belt can slide in the pulley. So that's why you see that always the pulley is a bit wider than the belt itself. That is to allow for room for displacement, lateral displacement, and whatever it comes in. So there's a lot of deflection, like when you have a satellite motor. Satellite motors, like the motor's in the back, and there's the belt, and then you got the pulley. So when you hit the brakes, that belt is looping around your motor shaft, and it's basically doing this. It's deflecting it. It's deflecting it. That's why you see that a lot of motors from ESK, they tend to have problems where the shaft meets the bearing.
Okay.
They always end up with some damage there. So that's a deflection because the belt is looped around the shaft, and the motor is not designed to take lateral forces like this. The motors is designed to take torsional forces like that. So the gears take away that loop, that crank on the shaft. It just leaves one point of contact, which produces the torsional forces that the motor is designed to that. That's one. So second is that the precision that you need, that is, believe me, a gear drive that is not well designed is going to last you way less than the belts, because the gears, where the magic happens is in the surface that of the teeth. So the surface of one teeth needs to match perfectly the surface of the other one. It cannot just hit it. It needs to just gently slide it, kind of just like tap it.
Yeah, I was looking at those pictures, and it was like the precision that's necessary to make that happen has to be on point.
Has to be on point. That is why there's guys that have been building gear drives, and they've been building awesome gear drives, but then with time they need to sell a lot of replacement parts because they get damaged. Like I could say for the gears I built, you know, everybody could tell. You could take any of my customer, 2-3 year customer, have you changed your gears? They haven't even changed because all depends of how you set things up. Like there's things that the customer should set, but there's things that the builder should set. So the customer just put it there and it goes where it goes. It's like putting together a computer. When you remember back in the days, you used to buy the chip, you used to buy the motherboard, you used to buy the socket, everything for pieces. So that chip will only fit the way it goes. That's a way for the manufacturer to, you know, guarantee that thing is going to work properly. The same thing with the gear drives. Like in my case of my gear drive, so let's break down the forces that act on a motor. So let me see. Let me take one of these big boys. So in a motor, you have torsional forces that goes around. So that force is acting on that motor. Then you have thrust forces that pushes the axle inwards or outwards. So those are two extra forces. Now the looping around force that we talk about with the belts, so that's another force that's acting on the motor. So the question is, how do you brace the motor and the motor shaft from all those forces so you can hold it tight, and your bracing system should take care of all those forces and still allow for rotation? So that is the question, and allow for rotation and keep the precision still up. So that is basically what makes a good gear drive. Once you get that precision going, you could push. I have pulled 500 pounds on a board uphill.
I saw that. I was watching one of your videos that I think you live streamed it, and you were just talking about the system and the specs and things like that. And one of the things, can you talk a little bit quickly about some of the specs? But then you said something that just blew my mind. You said you want to provide value for the people who want to buy the board, new or used. And then you want people to be able to sell their boards at a very nice price. You were talking about people getting a lot of return on their investment when they invest in a board. And that blew my mind, because it was like you're thinking about the consumer after they've already spent their money with you, because you want them to have a quality product. And then even if they were to sell it and give it to the next person, you wanted them to still have a quality product. So can you talk like quickly about like some of those specs, but then like where that mindset came from about how you want to create a product that can last a while, where people be excited about this product?
Well, you know, coming from my PlayStation days, simple as that. Okay. You know, everybody knows the feeling. Everybody knows the feeling. Like, come on, man. I got all this money. I got everything on this game that I love, and now I can't play anymore because you find a way how to F me over. Like, come on, no. So to me, remember when people were paying $7,000, $10,000 for spinner rims?
I remember that.
You remember those days, right?
Just stop
So,
and it's still spinning.
so, there's always fads. There's always things that are fads, and they come and they go. And we see them all the time. We see them coming, we see them going. So to me, I'm like, you know what? The ESK market, it's moving so fast, so quickly, that if we don't take care of the customers, we're gonna end up like the spinners. We're gonna end up 5 years from now. Do you remember when we were paying so much money for this or that or that? So to me, I love this thing. So that's not where I want to go. Like, that's not where I want the thing to go. And what I have found out is, if you want a quality, high performance product, you're gonna have to pay for it. But when I say that you pay for it, it doesn't mean that you have to lose your money. So that what's been on my mind. Like, okay, this guy took the trust on me, and he sent me around $3,000 for fucking board. Oh, sorry for the curse. For the freaking board. So really, like, the least I could do is to try to find a way how to make that able to evolve. That if, let's say, he got that $3,000, so maybe next year, if he still wants to ride, then all he needs to do is upgrade $200, $300, those little parts. But to me, it's like, that is your machine, and we're going to be up for the long run. That way, if you don't have the money for the XL40, then don't worry. Use your board, save a couple of bucks, have fun with it, enjoy it, and then down the lane, you get your XL40, because we're going to have the parts to make it able to upgrade it. There's like 2 or 3 more things that I have thought down the line with the XL40s and the 2.0, that, in a couple of years, maybe we could say, okay, we can do this, and now we can squeeze more years out of it. So that's basically what I want. I just don't want people to give $3,000 and then buy.
And I like that, because in your live stream, you also said something about wanting people to be future proof. And I think that that's really cool, because some companies, it's kind of like, I remember growing up, my grandmother's microwave lasted forever. It was like my grandma had the same microwave for like 20 years. Now, when I buy a microwave, I'm lucky if it lasts a year or 2 before I have to buy a new microwave because it goes out. So I really like that, what you're saying. So if we could just maybe, I'm so excited about this board. Like, there's just so many things about this board that just blow my mind. Like, one of the things that tripped me out when I was watching your live stream, when you were talking about this electric hydraulic stabilization system. But
yeah,
the crazy thing was, you were talking about how the system doesn't activate until you hit a certain amount of miles per hour. And then that's when it actually activates. But when you're not doing, I think, more than 20 miles an hour, I think you said, the bushings are doing all of the stabilization and stuff. I just thought that was crazy.
Well, the thing is, I have tried a few manual stabilization systems, and they're all over the place. You just click your thing and they stabilize. But then everything it's a compromise. So either you're always going to have to be set for one situation. Mm-hmm. Either you set for carving, either you set for speed, same thing with the bushing, same thing, everybody, you tighten it. So I'm like, you know what? If we could put something that we could do everything we want. Mm-hmm. We don't, it's not too much to dream. So we want to do everything we can do on a skateboard. And basically, what it all comes about is, okay, it's how, all we want is, if we could have somebody with a wrench, tighten it and loosen it, then we'll be good, because we could tighten the trucks, we could loosen the truck, we could tighten the truck, we could loosen the trucks. Basically, it's not too much. The only thing is a different way to see things. That's why from the beginning, I step away from proper skateboarding mindset, because that, if you see, back in the days, I did a Vanguard Flex 1. It was like my bootlegger boosted, but it will give me way more mileage than the boosted, and I hit like 40 something miles with that, miles per hour. So that was the only one. I said, nah, forget it. This thing is crazy. So I went with the mountain board route. So the main thing is skateboarding per se, it's similar, but it's not the same. You know, and as long as you get it in your mind, mentally you're there, that's a liability because now you cannot see and expand your horizon of what can be possible. We need to agree like, oh, no, this, it's similar to skateboarding, but it's not. So once you make that transition, like, okay, now I'm free. I can do whatever I want. So what I want is that I want people to, you know how I've seen my guys and I'm being riding and I see them trying to go to an overpass and we need to make a turn. And it's just painful. To try to take that board up and then it gets just, they get stuck. And once they get the open field, then they go. So that was like, okay, I need to solve that thing. So I think we will be able to do that and deliver on people.
That is like amazing to me. Like that system, when I was looking at that, it's just really crazy to me. So I'm sure you saw that video. I don't know who created it. Where you know I had to talk about it. You know I'm not gonna get on this thing, and that's bro. I know you saw the video where the Kaly Board was slapping everybody around, and I was like, wow, the specs, the top speed that this board is gonna potentially have. And I think that I saw 2 drivetrain systems, like the regular one, and then there was like what was it? I wrote it down. Was it the hyperdrive?
No,
what was it?
Let me see. We got here. Let me see. So this is a 30. This is a 38 Metal Gear. So it's been a long time coming for the Metal Gears because we needed to solve some issues, like I said, with the surface, the contact surface. So we have a gear that has a certain shape, and then that shape is twisting to the helix. So you need to make that those surfaces made at a precision of 0.10, 0.20 of a millimeter. And then you want those things to go around 4,000 RPMs. So I'm put them on a skater. So the thing is that it looks simple, and it's actually simple in theory, but machining at those precision at an affordable cost, then it becomes a headache. So we were able to do it. We were able to give some surface treatment to the teeth in order that they could withstand. Then we're able to get a proper grease, you know, that has the qualities that we need in order to care for that surface. Because believe me, it's not about the metal itself, it's about the surface. It's like, again, it's about you slapping it or you smoothing, like massage or slap, one of the two. So that is what we're doing. Erwin in DC, I sent him the 60 miles per hour gears. So I hope he doesn't hit the road too hard. Let's see. Let's see what's gonna happen.
I can't even imagine what that feels like to do 60. You better have on some serious gear. And I'm sure you know who this gentleman is. I don't know him. I saw a crazy video on Instagram of somebody riding a Kaly board in New York, and he was a heavy dude, and he was weaving in and out of buses, cars. I think he had a cape or something. Man, I've never sat down and just watched the video in awe, but why it was because the board was able to do what it was doing. He had like the torque was exceptional. He was moving, he was weaving, and it was just like, I think what you're creating is beyond a skateboard. It's like you said, you have to get beyond the skateboard thing. It's on a whole, I don't even know what you would quantify it as. Like I think what you got going on is crazy.
To me, it's like a machine. It's just a machine. You just step like you know, we had an issue. All humans, we tend to put ourselves in our place. Like people say, they put you in your place. No. You put yourself in your place. You allow how much life throws at you, because like a lot of people like don't want to overdo it. Sometimes they don't want people to think they weird. Sometimes like like when I started doing the big boards, like to sell, right? There was Baja, but Baja is like a machine of his own. He has like that's its own thing. They have this big, nice machine, mechanical look. And I went, okay, I want to do this mountain board thing. And as you could tell, just a crazy guy in New York doing these big boards. And everybody was like, that's not gonna work. Who's gonna pay $2,000 for a board? That was just everybody laughing in the forums. And then I put pneumatic wheels, 8-inch, really, bro? And then I went 12S, really? You're gonna do those voltages? I'm like, yeah, because it's what is required of what I wanna do. So if I want this feel, because what people forget is I don't sell you a board, believe me. The board, it's the medium on which you're gonna get that feeling that you're looking for. So what I'm selling you is that feel, what a joy, that unwinding, that experience is what I sell. It comes through a board. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. So that's basically what we're doing. So from the beginning, everybody like, no, you're doing this is wrong. No, this is too much. Or I'm like, come on, bro. Even there were a couple companies, they started with their boards at 10S. I'm like, what the heck? Are you crazy? And then after a lot of craziness, then they started 12S. Then there was the criticism. Like basically, I was the first one e-board that started producing only gear drives. And it was not, I didn't have any competition. I just, this is better. And remember that I used to have the straight cut gear drives. And within 6 months, I just discarded that without any pressure from anybody, because I was the only one producing gear drives. Say, you know what? We just found a better way. So put that aside, bring this in. And still, some people still have it. Those are the best gear drive that they have, straight cut gear drive they have ride. So to me, that's the way. You have to put yourself out of your comfort zone. And you say, you know what? Let me see if I can do this. It's no competition. It's not nothing. I want to do that. Now let me see. Let's give it a try.
That's crazy. You said something about, and this was when you were doing your live, and you said it's not about what is the charge on the cell versus the discharge of the cell. And I think you were talking about if you were braking and things like that, but then if you're charging a board. And I think you may have been talking about possibly overcharging, but you were talking about how your board is made in a fashion where that's not a problem. And I just thought that was so cool, but I felt like it went over my head a little bit though too. So what was that about?
All right. So what happened is, there's a lot of discussions when it comes to in the Vape forums, which is like one of the best places you could find information about batteries, because they have normally 1 or 2, maybe 4 cells, and they kicking it like crazy. They just like overcharging those things. So those guys are really abusing that. So there's a lot of people that think, okay, we can charge this cell so much, we can discharge this cell so much, but when you're using it, I like to follow the manufacturer's suggestion, because honestly, like 20 minutes more, 20 minutes less, 40 minutes more, 40 minutes less, I don't mind that much. And even if in practice it doesn't make any difference, it's always good to err on the safe side, especially when you put in a ton of money to replace a battery on the line. Like one of these batteries could cost you easily $1,600 or more. Like the XLR battery is gonna be like $1,000 battery or more. So it's like that's it. So then it comes the issue of braking. So we're using electrical brakes to stop. So the main thing's been always, okay, this is gonna cut off and you're gonna have no brakes. The thing is, you do that at the expense of putting high peak of currents into the batteries, into the cells. So you basically kind of frying it a little bit every time you do one of those. So the best way will be to try to minimize that to zero. So that's why we're introducing real static braking. So real static braking is just a capacitor bank that will suck up all that, I have one somewhere over there, all that current, and a system that will open like a valve. So the energy was going this way, now we're gonna send the energy going this way. So based on the voltage, so if your battery is a 12S, then after certain voltage, the energy is gonna go that way. And when the voltage go below, let's say 12 volts, you got 50.4 volts, so 100%. Then when you go, let's say 49 volts or 48 volts, so until you hit 48, the energy is gonna go to the capacitors, splitting capacitors. After that, then it's gonna go to your battery. That way, the battery pack can take that spike and will be good. It will not damage it. So it's all about that. Yeah, it's gonna be just a safer thing. Yeah.
I liked it when you were explaining it. I just thought it was so cool. It's just like a lot of information in there. Now, you were also talking a little bit about the remote that you may be using with the board. And I saw I think it was the Hoyt Puck was one of the options, but then you spoke about another remote too.
Yeah, there's somebody doing he has an awesome project. I just don't know, he posted it, but he's in Texas, so he's being a little bit under the weather. So but he has a nice project going in. We're using the park. So if he finished that, this is what I've been thinking. If he finished that, then we'll try. If it's the promise is big. So the promise that he has is big. It's an all-in-one solution for a lot of stuff. Now the delivery of that we'll have to see, but I think he's in the right path. And then after that, we're gonna have to test for reliability. But if that happens, then like I said, we always have to move forward. But as of now, still the puck, it's the gold standard. So we're still there. Yes, so they are, like they say, you need to knock the champ out. You can't. Yeah, you need to knock him out. Like no, it's not gonna be close. Out or not.
Yeah, no, I hear that. No, that's really cool, man. And it was just like, I've always admired the brand from a distance. And you want to know the crazy thing? I've never seen one in person. Even though we have different type of boards in the Atlanta community, I've never seen a Kaly. And I see them on Instagram, I see them on Facebook, I see people getting down, and they just look like they're on a whole nother level, which is very impressive. And one of the things, if I could, I always like to, we talk about boards and stuff like that. I always love to like maybe just give people value. And you, like, to be honest about it, you seem like an inspiring guy. And I was wondering if, let's just say there's some youth or something listening to this video, or some young adults, and they're trying to figure life out, what it is that they want to do in their life. And just hearing your story of how you created this board, how people doubted you, how people's like, would people want to buy a board? What would you say to somebody, a young adult, especially in this time right now, we're dealing with COVID. A lot of kids are not even in school. They're in Atlanta here. We're having a lot of issues with crime because we have a lot of young adults. They don't have anything to do. So they're just doing stuff. So what would you say to a young adult, who's wanting to be successful, but doesn't even know where to start or whatever?
Well, the thing is this: life doesn't come with a manual. That's one of the first thing. It doesn't come with a manual. I'm not a religious guy. That's one thing that religion has on his corner, that at least he has a scaffolding, has a structure that if you follow, you could do. But if you know that type, then I think life needs mentoring. You need to see first. You need
had a slight technical difficulty. I had asked Ernesto, I said, what would be some advice that he would give people that are trying to figure things out? And a lot of times we think about youth trying to figure things out, but even the way things happen economically, it has a lot of adults trying to figure things out right now. So what would be some advices you would give to people when they're trying to find their purpose, trying to find out how they can fit in society and life?
Well, like I was saying before, mainly what I think, life doesn't come with a manual. So it's going to be hard because you never know. But then, like, you need to get some mentoring, somebody that you could aspire to and learn from. Like, you could have that person, like I say, it doesn't come with a manual. Sometimes you're going to find bad mentors and there's going to be a good one. So if things doesn't feel right, with somebody that you follow, or somebody that you admire, and that you want them to show you the ropes, then it could be that it's wrong. So that's a good way. Follow your guts. Every time you have a gut feeling, just don't just like turn it around and go the other way. But then there is the scope of what to do. People don't know what to do. And most of the problems that comes of not knowing what to do is because everybody wants to start at the top. Like, uh, everything is complex in life, but when you break it into pieces, it's simple. So the thing is, you need to start small. I'm not saying it's small in size and scope, but small in steps. So
That's powerful right there. Not small in scope. Still dream big, but start.
yeah, dream small in step, one at a time. That's to me is the key, because mainly we don't know what we don't know. That's the first thing. We don't know what we don't know. It doesn't matter how smart we are. We can't figure it out, but we don't know yet. Once we get there, we will know. But if you jump, like, well, nowadays it's really like, let's say the MMA. When you see people fighting, if a guy commit full throttle to a punch, he can't back down. Even as you see the guy stepping back, he's already halfway. Even if he can't back it down. So same thing, whenever you take an action, you need to do it small step. And then don't despair. If you don't get the amount you wanted, don't worry. You'll get it later. As long as you keep churking up, little by little, little by little. But nowadays, there's always to be aware of what ideas are yours. What ideas come from the inside? Sometimes we think that our ideas are ours, and they're not. Sometimes you aspire to this, you aspire to that, but at the end of the day, that's why there's a lot of people that get the stuff and now they still feel depressed, they still feel bad, because that idea was not theirs. So if you look for stuff, look, even the guy who did the candy roll, he's a billionaire. I was sending 2 cents candy rolls. So it's not the money, it's not what you're doing, it's how you do it. And the only way to learn how you do it is one step at a time. Don't despair. Easy does it, and persevere. You know how many, like, a lot of us have seen guys really young, really talented, really good at sports, really good at sports. Something happened. If it could be that you have an injury, so that was part of the game, you're out. But sometimes what happens is they get derailed and they don't continue. And then 5 years from now, somebody else that was with them, that person made it. Same thing with school and education. You need an education. It doesn't matter. You need an education. You need to have the background. A lot of people don't like school, right? But the funny thing is that they don't look in school the right way. Maybe they're too smart for school. Maybe when they get to school, they see the teachers for what they are. This guy is stuck up. He doesn't know that much. He's not that intelligent. But then they forget that the best thing about school is about learning how an institution works. So once you start seeing the cogs, how the things are organized, how things get done, even if you don't like the person, at least you can say, okay, how this guy did that. Like, look, with all my friends, one of the touchy things, everybody goes crazy with me. I'm like, you see the crazy Dono? He's crazy. But he did something that not too many men have been able to do, especially without a weapon. Conquer a country. If you think about it, that's what he did. He just took it with a Twitter account. I'm like, dude, there's people trying to do this with missiles and everything. Weapon. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for what he did. It doesn't matter what he did with it.
But he was able to do it.
The fact remains that he was able to do it. And then you see, okay, how this happened. So to me, instead of going crazy, no, I'm going backwards. This didn't happen just overnight. So this is a long con. So it's a long project that, and you could see it's a long project in the back of the mind. Okay, I'm gonna do everything, but I want this, but I know I cannot do it now, so I'm gonna let it run until the opportunity is right. But then always putting yourself in situation that you may do it, or you may not do it, but it could be. So life is always full of crazy stuff like that, crazy stuff like that. And if people wants to move ahead, the only thing is, find something to smile every day, because once your body start getting angry, once you get despair, it's hard. It's hard to come from there.
Wow.
But if you always have a hope, it's easy because it doesn't hurt.
You gotta
It doesn't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got to miss. And then you said something even earlier, be willing to put in the process. You got to go through the process, even with your company, of figuring out you didn't get here. You didn't build a 60-mile-per-hour board like this. It was the process. And I want to ask you a final question. I want to take you too long because I'm appreciative of this opportunity. Yeah. I saw you showing a different type of board in your last live stream. It looked more like a street board. It had hub motor.
Yeah. Yeah, it has hub motor.
Yeah. So what was that one about? If you could talk about it.
That's my bodega board. So I've been using this board already for a couple of years now. So I built it for myself because the high performance boards are awesome, but third floor, no elevator. You get the picture, like, hell no.
Yeah.
So you have something to slap around. So my whole thing, I love the high fiber. Which one is this one? It's so long that I bought it, I even forget the name of the deck itself. But it has an awesome concave, and the board is it's small, it's not even big. So I set it up with a 12S4P, and I'd squeeze out 30 miles out of it in range, but I don't use it for 30 miles because this is what a lot of guys don't get. Things need to be used. There's a tool for everything. So the hub motors are really nice for short rides. So something within 4 or 5 miles, you go back, and it's good. But the moment you are hitting those motors for long range, you're setting yourself up for destruction. It's just physics, a little piece of urethane like this will not handle all that abuse. It's just like that. So the more bigger boards I do, the more I find myself using the small boards. So I'm like, it's good to have that board that if I want to go to a ride, like to me, sometimes I like to hop on my board from the Bronx in the north, all the way down to Brighton Beach in Coney Island, New York, all the way down there. So it's like a 25, 26 miles ride. So I just grab my board and go unwind. Awesome. But when I need to go to the postal office, pass to the bodega, go back to the pharmacy, I'm not taking the big board, I'm taking the small one. So yeah, it's been good. It's a passion project. I still don't have a date or if it is a product, I don't know. But some of the guys, they just love it. Everybody who comes here like, come on, man. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Yeah.
Nah, it was really dope. I wanna really take a moment to thank you, Ernesto, for joining me today. And I was excited to not only just talk about the board, but even watching you from a distance, your energy, your passion. Even I had asked you when you were live streaming on Instagram, I don't know, you responded to my question. I said, how did you get that? You were in California, I think, in San Diego. And
oh yeah,
you were riding a Kaly board. I was like, how you get that there? Because I know you can't take it on a plane. And you were like, a lot of my consumers buy multiple boards, and you were just hanging out riding with them. But I just thought about how cool is that? You know what I mean? And that's just how you operate and how you move. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, to me, it's like, I come from the surfing community, and what you want to have is guys. Like, we will be in the north of Dominican Republic, and we're going to go across the country to the south, and we just call somebody, bro, what are you doing? We're there. So that, to me, that's what I call making business. A lot of people want to do business and make money. Money is good, but I appreciate the person. I want your money, and I want you too. So we could have a conversation where we could be friends. It doesn't matter, have the money and then you never talk to the guy again. So that's not the way to do it. So it's every life you touch, you want to at least that the worst scenario is that you're friendly. That's what you want. Yeah.
And that energy comes across, you know what I'm saying? And so that's why I was really excited to get a chance to speak with you. Before we wrap up, Ernesto, is there, can you please provide your social media for your company, your web address, or anything that you think people should know about? So when they want to get in contact with you for their boards or things like that, they can do so.
They will find me. No worries. Look, a lot of people want me, Ernesto, push your board more. You should grow the business. Like, no. Like, I'm trying to create a community because I have some plans. I want people to like yourself and I, right? We got kids, we got family. We have lost one thing. We have lost the freedom to go with our guys places. Let's say go outside the country, go have a blast without having the wife going crazy about us. Yeah. And that's why I'm like, okay, this is the medium to do it. Okay, honey, you want to see what I'm doing? This is what I'm doing. Come, see it. And once they see it, like, oh God, no, forget it.
I want
and to me, if we could take weekends, like, okay, we're leaving Friday morning, we're coming back Sunday night. We're gonna take you to paradise, and there's gonna be boards over there. Like, it's just about the boards, about the camaraderie, about the friendship we're gonna make. And that, to me, that's what I want to establish. As soon as this COVID thing goes, forget it. I'm ready. I'm taking a bunch of gringos to Dominican Republic. Let's go. Let's have some fun.
I'm coming with you. I'm there.
Yeah. Let's have some fun. 4 days of fun, shredding, and awesomeness. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. Since he was too modest, I'm gonna put his Instagram and stuff in the description of the video.
All right, brother.
Thank you, Ernesto, man. Appreciate you, brother. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All right.